Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, right? Today we are going to be covering the charts, but we're also going to be talking about something that happened, right? Pretty much a big exchange got hacked and they lost roughly $1.5 billion worth of their money, and that is why people believe the market is tanking, right? That's why people believe the market is tanking, right? The information pretty much is that, ladies and gentlemen, that Bybit lost $1.4 billion in their Ethereum. It got drained according to some North Korean hacker group, right? So here's the thing, right? Crazy, crazy times, right? I'm not exactly sure how things went down, but this is why it's very, very important to pretty much always have a cold wallet, right? Um, a cold wallet, just stay offline as much as you can. Obviously, don't share your code with anyone. Try to be as safe as you possibly can because there's cold wallets, there's hot wallets. There's leaving on exchanges. uh there might be even a few other things that are just kind of like whatever, not that safe technically speaking. But we have a cold wallet and you just keep it offline. Usually like none of this is going to happen because you have to be there in person. I believe the hack was they somehow tricked the coding or whatever for something. I'm not too sure, right? People are just speculating, right? People were speculating, but it is crazy. It is crazy, right? $1.4 billion drained from and it was all Ethereum. It was roughly like $400,000 or 400,000 Ethereum, right? It was not $400,000. It was 400,000 Ethereum. So that is crazy. But look, right? This is going to be happening more often, especially the more bullish we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen, right? Right now, we see Bitcoin's at 95,000. A lot of coins are, having some type of retracement, whatever, right? But when things turn around green and they're consistently green and we start peaking, right, we're going to have trillions and trillions of dollars of market cap in this market. And I would not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if we start, you know, getting hackers on board. Like when that's the thing, right? There's probably going to be a good amount of hackers trying to come in and take money from exchanges and from people. So we have to be really, really careful over the next few months. Remember, this is going to be probably the most amount of money um, that's circulating out there. And, this is going to be the prime time, right? The next few months are going to be the prime time because after that, you know, things start to sell off, things start to die out, whatever. So the prime time will be in a couple of months. Um, you know, so we got to be careful. So people think because of this hack, it caused some chaos and the market sold off, which I mean, it could be the case. It could be the case. I really do not care. I really do not care for what really happens. The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, right? The thing we talked about is that we talked about, if market structure goes up like this and kind of continues holding sideways, we could very well see it continue going up. However, as I did say, I did have this area marked up for a reason. The reason why I had this area marked up is because, ladies and gentlemen, I still sometimes expect a little bit of a further dip, generally speaking, right? I've seen some structure play out very, very nicely on some coins where we get like a triple tap reversal. Unfortunately, for the total market cap, we haven't seen that yet, right? We've seen equal lows pretty much, which are most likely going to be taken out, especially with the heavy momentum, coming in. Something like Bitcoin 2, I am still wary about the 92.5K mark. Um, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how we react. We have to see how we react off of this zone. It is very unlikely that we will create, you know, 4 taps, but we have technically seen it in the past where, Bitcoin can respect multiple zones without sweeping that liquidity. So we're going to have to monitor things. Generally speaking, I'm still bullish on everything, right? My bias didn't change just because a day ago Bitcoin was higher, right? For me, overall, this is just sideways movement. It doesn't really matter what happens over the next few days, few weeks, generally anything between here is just sideways movement, right? I know we are overall accumulating because we expect a breakout. So just because there's a sell off in the accumulation doesn't mean anything. If we were to break the accumulation, right, and start kind of closing below this zone, then we would be seeing levels go lower. But I am not currently panicking. However, I will say, just because of this Friday alone, this kind of did flip everything, right? This kind of did flip everything at this moment. And we went from a nice bullish, strong candle to a bearish one. So, you know, in terms of short-term bias and confirmation bias, not the most exciting thing, to see, but it is what it is. It's just sometimes how the markets play out, right? I've seen this happen with gold before, where it's like the whole week is, green, and then Friday comes along the corner and it just all dumps. So, whatever, that is fine. Historically speaking, though, ladies and gentlemen, February is roughly the last month before things start really, really pumping. All right. It is the last month, where it's the most bearish before it starts pumping. Look, we are getting something very, very similar to what we were getting on here when we were retesting above these highs, right? For me, unless the monthly candle shows something at this current moment, even if February were to close like this, I'm still generally bullish, right? Um, for us to close to be very, very bearish and for me to possibly flip my bias, we'd have to close below $89,500 by the end of February, which I really doubt, right? Which I really doubt we will. At this current moment, we are technically building up a monthly support, right? We can see for the last 3 months, we have been, retesting off of this zone. So, as long as we kind of keep it up and as long as we kind of keep closing above, 92,500, then things should look solid and we should continue pumping up higher. We could get possible retracements. I mean, we could possibly tap into 80,000, but I really doubt it just because we were accumulating so long on top of the all-time highs, right? That it would really, really wouldn't make sense to me personally. Um, something like Ondo, I want to talk about certain altcoins are coming into our zones, right? Turbo yesterday did come into our zone. And you can see Turbo is not going back into our zone, right? It went up a lot. Now it's having a sell off. Sure. It may sell off even a little bit more, right? Roughly go back to this area, but it already tapped our zone. So I'm confident that this is a confirmation that things are reversing. Something like Ondo never went to our $10 zone, $5 zone. And we can see now Ondo is here, right? So for me, the more coins that come into the zones they need to come into, and then respect it, is the more confirmation we will be bullish, right? Same thing with other coins, right? ICP, we expected it to go a little bit lower, right? We expect, possibly 650s getting taken out. Something like Caspa, right? We had multiple rejections here. We expected possibly a bounce back off of the 9 cent area, which would make more sense. Wiping out certain lows, certain liquidity, getting to certain order blocks. That would make more sense for me, generally speaking. PNG, as long as it holds here, we should be fine. But this is what I expected for it to go lower, accumulate before it starts going up. So, all these things I expect to do well. I did mark up XRP for the private channel, and I pretty much showed them as an example that, the reason why I think we are still potentially going to be short term, just very, very, very short term bearish, is because you see something like XRP, it has multiple points of liquidity, right? We can see it has multiple points of liquidity, which means there is money sitting here, which means most likely something like XRP is going to go down to here, or it could just go down to somewhere of these areas before it continues going up higher, right? There's just too much liquidity. And I noticed that with certain altcoins, some altcoins hit their zone, right? Like Turbo hit their zone, it went up flying high, and now that it's retracing, it's still nowhere back near its zone it tapped into. So for me, that is just very, very good solid signs. For me, some altcoins still have to do their liquidity sweep before we continue going up higher. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.